Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Raleigh business damaged. Police are looking for the person responsible for creating this giant hole at a store on Hillsborough Street. The reaction from the owner as they showed up on the scene.
And it's a nice cool start out here. All the clouds from yesterday moving right on out of here. I'll let you know how it will feel behind this front coming up.
And music's biggest stars. It was a big night for the artists at the MTV Video Music Awards, the historic wins and the moments that everyone is talking about. And if they're talking about it, we'll be talking about it right here in the 8 o'clock hour on Fox 50. Good morning to you. I'm Ken Smith. Let's go ahead and get back outside to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio. I almost needed my jacket this morning, Elizabeth.
It's cool. And, you know, part of it is it's breezy. We don't have a lot of gusts, but just some steady wind at about 5 to 8 miles per hour because it's coming out of the north is feeling a little bit on the cool side. We take a live look at Fayetteville where there's still some cloud cover. We have a cold front that's moving off the coast right now. So the farther east you are or south, like Fayetteville or Clinton or even over around, say, Rocky Mount, they're still dealing with some cloud cover. 60 right now in the Triangle, and the dew points dropped nicely down to 53. So it's nice and crisp out with no humidity like we saw on Saturday. Mid 50s in our northern counties, low 60s down to the south, and around 60 for the Triangle right now. And we're running anywhere from around 5 to almost 15 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. So that's a big, big drop. This is a look at our cloud cover. Cloud cover is looking good for the rest of the afternoon, even though it was very gray yesterday. That sun's breaking out and it'll stay sunny through the afternoon. Highs are only in the mid 70s, so definitely feeling like fall. I'll show you how many more days will feel like this coming up. Chris?
And Elizabeth, for our friends in Garner, listen up. You've got some road work that's going to start within the next hour. This is at NC 50 near Umstead Lane, Hilltop Avenue, and toward the US 70 West on-ramp. So this is right around the Garner Fire Department, Garner Baseball. And this is a closure that's going to take place between now and early November. So keep that in mind again if you plan on driving in and around Garner. Right now, coming in from Garner on I-40 there, no major delays heading into the capital city. Meanwhile, US 1 at 1010 Road, you see those northbound lanes are pretty congested as they normally are at this point in the morning. So our delay times are roughly between 5 and 10 minutes. Every now and then when we check the delay times, they change. Now it's up to 6 minutes. I-87 coming in from Knightdale, an 11-minute delay, a 13-minute delay on Capitol Boulevard heading into Raleigh from Wake Forest. We'll keep an eye on those and let you know if they change while you're on the go. You can listen to us at 101.5 HD3.
Chris, thanks. Well, 2 Raleigh businesses are cleaning up this morning after a car crashed into them overnight. You see the video right here. This happened on Hillsborough Street. You can see this huge hole left behind at Carolina Kettle. Let's get right to Ali Cadlebar in the breaking news track. And Ali, you've been there all morning long, and you had an opportunity to talk to the owner.
Ken, we were here when the owners got here. One of those owners owned Carolina Kettle. You can see all of the bags of potato chips in that front window here. It is a kettle-cooked potato chip store. And to the left of that entrance there is that massive hole. You can see just the damage from the outside. But listen to what the owners of both businesses, of the Golf Performance, the local gym behind it, and Carolina Kettle, had to say about the damage inside.
Knocked off a couple mirrors. The whole wall's bowed in about 6 inches or so. So just some building damage there.
Maybe just some displays and some product. But yeah, they missed the office, so hopefully everything in there is fine.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be closed for today at least. All that damage calls from the crash that happened around 12:30 this morning. A car plowed into the building off Hillsborough Street. The driver wasn't on the scene when police showed up, and police are searching for the people involved. They searched for a few hours. That's what we know from Raleigh police. We're working to find out the long-term impacts from this crash, as well as if anybody has been arrested in relation to it. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Cadlebar, WRAL News.
We're following some breaking news overseas out of Israel. At least 6 people are dead after 2 people opened fire at a bus stop in East Jerusalem. Around 12 people were also hurt in that shooting. Israeli police say 2 people, including an Israeli soldier, returned fire during that shooting. This is a developing story, and we'll bring you any new information as it comes into our newsroom. Back here at home, law enforcement just outside our area is looking for a young child with disabilities this morning. The Randolph County Sheriff's Office says a nonverbal 7-year-old wandered off yesterday. Take a look at your screen. This is a picture of Liam King. An alert about his disappearance likely popped up on your phone. He was last seen in Ashboro wearing a light blue black hoodie and along with black sweatpants. Deputies say he might run off if you try to approach him. Call 911 if you see him. Happening today, state election leaders are trying to come up with a plan to fix incomplete voter registration records. This comes after a lengthy lawsuit that challenged the validity of thousands of ballots in a recent state Supreme Court race. Let's get to WRAL's Laura Levine. And Laura, this meeting today will focus on making sure this doesn't happen again.
Ken, good morning. Election officials will meet here behind me later this morning in just a few hours here to really go through some of this new proposed guidance. They're also working to contact those voters, letting them know next steps on how to update their voting records. So all of this comes after the state was sued by the U.S. Justice Department, which questioned the registrations of about 200,000 voters in the state. The State Elections Board and the DOJ have agreed on ways some of those voters can cast a ballot. About 81,000 voter records were missing some ID information. They'll have to vote with provisional ballots if their registrations aren't updated before the election. Another 98,000 have information that doesn't match other state or federal records. They'll be able to vote with regular ballots if elections officials approve the new guidance here today. So the State Board of Elections will meet in person here at the Dobbs building behind me beginning at 9 a.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Also happening today, Wake County commissioners meeting to talk about the impact of federal spending cuts, specifically programs related to Medicaid and SNAP. The so-called Big Beautiful Bill changed the work requirements for people on Medicaid and puts more of the costs for SNAP on state and local levels. The county expects costs for SNAP to increase by as much as $4 million a year. The commissioners meet this afternoon for a work session to talk about the impacts. Heads up for people in Tarboro. There's a public meeting tonight about the construction of a data center and an energy storage facility in that community. This will be built on 52 acres along Anaconda Road and McNair Road. The North Carolina-based company Energy Storage Solutions is behind this project. Tonight's meeting starts at 7. This topic will be among the first on the agenda. Some road closures are set to take effect in less than an hour around 9 o'clock as part of a bridge replacement project in southern Wake County. The work is happening on Highway 50, also known as Benson Road. The state DOT will close ramps off US 70, so keep that in mind. The road closures are expected to be in place through early November. People in Wayne County are stepping up to help the people forced out of their homes after this massive fire last week. An apartment building at the Adair Place complex was destroyed. 4 people were sent to a hospital in that area. 50 others were displaced. Now, volunteers from Community Churches United of Rosewood are collecting clothes, food, supplies, and toys for people affected. Now, within hours of posting a flyer on the church's Facebook page, they gathered enough items to fill an entire room at Rosewood First Baptist Church.
Rosewood is a very small community, but community, and we take care of our own.
You get in God's presence is that you just see what he can take and make something big out of something so small. Yeah. Just a little bit of faith.
Yeah, the operative word there is community. The group tells us they will continue collecting donations and offering assistance in as many ways as they can. The first Sunday of a night football game of the NFL season was filled with intense action. The Buffalo Bills were down 35-20 with 4 minutes left in the game against the Baltimore Ravens. Then the Bills hit them with a plot twist for an incredible comeback. Quarterback Josh Allen helped the Bills put up 2 touchdowns in the final minutes. Then he helped set up kicker Matt Prather for a 32-yard field goal right as the clock hit 0. Bills win 41-40. Well, the Carolina Panthers, that season did not get off to that good of a start. Actually quite rough, to be honest with you. Bryce Young turning the ball over 3 times as the Panthers lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road 26-10. The team will now turn its attention to its Week 2 matchup against the Arizona Cardinals next week. By the way, the Cardinals won their opening game. The Steelers won as well, too, last night in Aaron Rodgers' first regular season game as the team's QB. NC State football coach Dave Doeren is speaking to the media today as the Wolfpack get off to a hot start this season. NC State is coming off a victory against Virginia at home over the weekend, starting the season 2-0. How about that? The team is set to square off against Wake Forest this Thursday in Winston-Salem. Duke head coach Manny Diaz will also be speaking to the media as well. We'll tell you what the teams have to say starting in our early evening news at 4. Also, Bill Belichick getting his first Carolina win this weekend. The Tar Heels slogged their way to victory Saturday over the Charlotte 49ers, 20-3. Tonight on WRAL News at 6, UNC's big bet on Bill Belichick. Millions of dollars pouring into the university. To figure out where it's really going, WRAL investigates following the football money trail. Tune in tonight at 6 for that story. Well, the stars were out last night for the MTV Music Video Awards. Artists like Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, and Mariah Carey are celebrating their big moments. But it was pop icon Lady Gaga who took home Artist of the Year, thanking the fans during her speech.
Thank you, little monsters, my fans, for always supporting me and always supporting the monster in me.
Well, still ahead in What's Trending, we'll break down some of the other big moments from the awards show. Lots more to share with you here in the 8 o'clock hour. Kicked out. Several businesses have been asked to leave the Crabtree Valley Mall ahead of renovations, while some owners say this is a bad time to be looking for a new home. Grading debate. State leaders are talking about changing how schools are graded, but they say they want to look at other ways to measure school quality.
And it's a nice cool start out here this morning on the patio. Temperatures are in the mid-50s in the north. Elsewhere, mostly in the low 60s. Our humidity has dropped. It's a little breezy. I'll show you why it could be even cooler tomorrow morning coming up. It's nice and cool out here this morning. A little bit breezy, too. The wind's coming out of the north, so it feels cool. We're, not really gusty, but steady at about 5 to 10. And so it is making it a little more brisk here. But lots of sunshine. Wilson's finally cleared out at 63. Durham at 60. Still some lingering cloud cover there in Fayetteville at 63. But as we head through the morning, the clouds should clear everywhere. It's just our eastern and southern counties will be the last to clear as a cold front is moving off the coast. 53 is our dew point right now, so the muggy meter is very comfy, almost dropping back down to refreshing. And after school practices will feel great. Yesterday was a cool day, but we had cloud cover and it just was one of those days I think people felt like hibernating. Today's just going to be a gorgeous day. After school practices, temperatures will be in the mid 70s to start with, and then in the evening by 7 we drop down to around 72. We do have a long stretch of dry weather. I'll take a look at our drought monitor, see how we're doing coming up.
And Elizabeth, new this morning into the WRAL Traffic Center. An outage on Capitol Boulevard from New Hope Church Road to Trawick Road. This may cause some delays until power is restored. Duke Energy is working to restore power in that part of Capitol Boulevard. Now, speaking of Capitol Boulevard, US 1 from Wake Forest, it's your typical delay if you're heading into downtown Raleigh. Right now, about an 11-minute delay. We'll take a closer look at the rest of the area. You can listen for that on the go on 101.5 HD3.
I want to get you a look at what the economy is looking like in terms of U.S. futures from overnight. You'll see the S&P 500, not too much change there. Talk about up 7 points, Dow Jones up 9, NASDAQ up 61. This is sort of as investors are sort of waiting to see what we will be looking at in terms of economic reports this week. Which ones are we having? Well, let's take a look right here. I can show you right here on the screen. We have the PPI coming out on Wednesday, the Producer Price Index, the Consumer Price Index out on Thursday. That's the one. Definitely pay attention. It kind of measures how much we're paying for things. And then we have the initial jobless claim on Thursday, and then next week we have the import price index with U.S. retail sales that exact same day.
Chris, thanks. Well, some Raleigh business owners are unhappy as Crabtree Valley Mall prepares for a $60 million renovation project. That's because the mall management telling dozens of small businesses they have about a month to get out. Some told us they'd been there for nearly 2 decades and they feel blindsided by the abrupt end. The decision comes right before the busy season for some small businesses.
A lot of these businesses were relying on that income or the potential to make that money in the hottest season of the year. And so when you tell them to go a month before that time, you crush.
Well, mall leadership sent us a statement saying in part, while this chapter is closing, we're deeply grateful to the partners we have been part of Crabtree's journey. We encourage our guests and the community to continue supporting them beyond our walls. North Carolina education leaders again want to revise how the state grades its schools. The state assigns letter grades to every school every year, A, B, C, D, and F. State Superintendent Mo Green and the State Board of Education now plan to form a task force. Their goal is to put together some recommendations for a new rating system. The grades are the most visible way the state holds schools accountable for student performance, and they're based mostly on test scores. Read more about this story in the education section on WRAL.com. New information on a Sampson County restaurant that has been closed for nearly 2 months after a car crashed into that business. Construction is underway to repair Hall's Grill in Roseboro. If you look at this surveillance video, you can see a car crashing into the dining area on July 13th. Well, thankfully, the restaurant was closed at the time and no one was hurt. The restaurant is holding a fundraiser this Friday to raise money for repairs not covered by insurance. Overseas now, South Korea's president says workers detained in a massive raid at a Georgia Hyundai facility will be sent back to the country. 475 people were arrested Thursday in Elabel, which is just outside Savannah. This was part of a criminal investigation into alleged unlawful employment at the Hyundai facility. Most of the detainees were South Korean nationals. The president of South Korea has confirmed that a plane will be chartered to bring them home. President Trump says the decision to deploy National Guard troops to Chicago will be happening. In fact, an announcement could come today. The president has been vocal in his desire to deploy troops there to address illegal immigration and crime. The White House says immigration authorities have already started moving to the city. The president recently backed off a previous Truth Social post where he said Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Democrats in Illinois say troops would not help solve crime in Chicago. Well, one of the 2 victims killed in a deadly shooting in Minneapolis has been laid to rest. Family and friends gathered over the weekend for the funeral of 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel. Fletcher was shot and killed when a gunman opened fire through the stained glass windows of the Church of Annunciation Catholic School. The funeral was held at that same church. 10-year-old Harper Moyerski was also killed. She will be honored in a celebration of life this Sunday. Well, let's go ahead and get back out to the WRAL weather patio, check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on this rather cool fall feeling morning, I should say.
We're close. We, only have about a week and a half, I believe, until it's officially fall. But, it feels like it out here this morning, too. I'm very happy to have long sleeves and a little sweater on, that's for sure. It's a little breezy. That's one of the reasons that it feels so cool. Not strong gusts out here, but we're seeing a northerly wind, so that's helping to cool things down pretty quickly. Steady at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Taking a live look at the gardens right now. Everything looks good. Here's a look at our winds. Again, about 13 in Fayetteville, about 7 in South Hill, 10 in Rocky Mount. Those are all steady winds. No gusts. The gusts would show up in that white box on the right. So it's, crisp and cool out here. Our next weather maker is high pressure that is going to keep us dry, actually. We had a cold front move off the coast, still bringing some cloud cover right along the coast. You can see it there. High pressure building in is going to help to keep us nice and dry. Rain stays east. We're going to be dry here really for the next 7 days. Futurecast showing just a little bit of cloud cover out there in our eastern counties. Watch how that dissipates between now and lunchtime. Really already in Fayetteville, we're starting to see some clearing. So expect a nice bright day today. High pressure builds in over us for the next several days. High pressure systems rotate clockwise. So that high above us is dragging down some of the cooler air from Canada. It's also going to help to keep the clouds and the rain away from us. So your watering forecast, you might need to drag it out. I mean, we're getting close to the end of the growing season. We tend to see our first freezes, at least a month, maybe 6 6 weeks away, depending on where you are. So you still have another month in your garden. It is starting to dry out just a touch in our eastern counties, abnormally dry there in yellow, and some of our southern counties. We did have a pretty wet summer, and so things are still holding fine, but it doesn't mean you wouldn't need to water your grass or your garden probably sometime this week. 70s through Wednesday, and then low 80s. All these days are below normal, but some of the morning lows are a bit on the chilly side. I'll show you what it'll feel like tomorrow morning coming up.
And Elizabeth, a few things to make note of in our traffic report this morning, one of which is the road work that's going to start in about 38 minutes on NC 50 in Garner near Umstead Lane, the US 70 on-ramp, and Hilltop Avenue. This is road work that's going to last until early November, right around the Garner Fire Department and right around Garner Baseball as well. An outage happening right now in the vicinity of Capitol Boulevard near Trawick Road. Expect delays until power is restored there. That's close to the Guitar Center and the Korean barbecue place there along Capitol Boulevard. Now, in terms of delays coming in from Wake Forest along Capitol, it's about an 11-minute delay. That's pretty typical as you're heading into downtown Raleigh. And things seem to be improving on US 1 at 1010. That's the northbound lane there. Your congestion is pretty much what you would expect for this time of morning. About a 3-minute delay coming in from Apex, 13-minute delay coming in from Knightdale. Should that change, you'll be the first to know, so long as you keep us on the go. 101.5 HD3 on the radio.
Chris, thanks. Council suspended a group at NC State that advocates for gender equality has been shut down for the upcoming year. The decision from its leaders as schools across the country crack down on DEI. And default cliff, millions of student loan borrowers are behind on payments. 5 on your side explains why so many are suddenly at risk of defaulting on their loans.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning at 8:26. I'm Ken Smith. Let's go ahead and get out to the WRAL weather patio. Check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on this rather fall-feeling morning.
So pretty. You know, yesterday we were just socked in with the clouds and it was cool. So you might think that, you know, we add sunshine to this and it's really going to warm up. But no, our wind is now coming out of the north. On Saturday, it was coming out of the south, so it was a real summer feel. So it's just a shift in the wind makes all the difference. We're seeing lots of sunshine, high pressure is building in, and that's going to keep things nice and cool for us today. Lunchtime temperature, just around 71 or 2, and then the highs this afternoon in the mid-70s. If you're walking the dog this evening after work, looking at low 70s. So just a beautiful day, Chris.
And Elizabeth, once again, turning things back to I-87 at Arundel Avenue, and you can see the backups there being caused just by the congestion that you normally see at this point in the morning here at 8:27. This is one of our trouble spots that we often see going westbound into Raleigh. The delay right now is 4 minutes coming in from Knightdale, but if you were coming in from Zebulon, probably a little bit of a longer delay than that, and a 12-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest. Let you know if that changes over on Fox 50 and anytime on 101.5 HD3 on the radio.
2 businesses are damaged this morning after a car crashed into them. Police say the car hit the Carolina Kettle on Hillsborough Street. It kept going through the wall and hit the golf performance gym. Witnesses say they saw 2 people running away from that scene. Today, Wake County commissioners will discuss the effect of spending cuts on Medicaid and SNAP. The federal cuts changed work requirements for people on Medicaid and pushed more of the cost of SNAP to local levels. The commissioners meet this afternoon. Next on Fox 50, why North Carolina leaders say they want to change how schools are graded. And ahead on today, on board with the Bills Mafia as fans join a boat parade to support their team.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It is a crisp and clear morning out here. We're talking about all the sunshine and how cool it will be over the next several days.
Also, businesses damaged. Officers searching for 2 people on the run after a car crashes into 2 Raleigh businesses where the search stands right now. And making music history. Celebrations still happening this morning after the Video Music Awards last night. The biggest winners taking home the Moon Man. Thanks for staying with us here at 8:30. I'm Ken Smiley. Let's go ahead and get back out to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio. And Elizabeth, as people are heading out this morning, probably need to grab a light jacket.
You know, part of the reason for that is it is a little breezy. Our winds are coming out of the north, so it has a crisp feel to it. And that breeze always just makes it feel a little bit cooler. So, and temperatures are 50s and 60s right now. This is a live look at Fitton and Cary. Beautiful sunshine. We're seeing sunshine here, obviously, on the patio. You can see that behind me. 60 degrees is our temperature at RDU, and our dew point's way down at 53. So feeling very comfortable. Yesterday, we had the cool temperatures, but, you know, it was gray all day, and there were a few light showers and sprinkles. None of that today. Upper 50s in Roxborough and South Hill. Elsewhere, mainly looking at low to mid 60s currently. And those, again, temperatures anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. Hour by hour forecast, feeling great. We'll see highs in the mid 70s this afternoon. Even at 7 or 8 o'clock, our temperatures are still close to 70. Coming up, we're going to talk about our chances for rain anytime soon.
And Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL traffic center, it's your typical slowdowns that we're noticing here at about 8:31 this morning. I-87 on Arundel Avenue, that's actually improved compared to what we just showed over on the Today Show just a few minutes ago. So there's some good news there. Meanwhile, your typical congestion continues on US 1 northbound around 1010 Road. So delay times coming into the capital city out of places like Apex, Wake Forest, and Knightdale. They're pretty representative of what you would expect on a Monday morning. It's about a 3-minute delay coming in from Apex, 2 minutes coming in from Durham and Chapel Hill, 14 minutes out of Knightdale, 11 minutes out of Wake Forest. And hey, so far, no major delays coming in from Garner. And that's where within the next half hour, we're going to start to see some road work going on at NC 50. And this is road work that's going to take us through the early part of November around Umstead Lane, US 70 West on-ramp and Hilltop Avenue. So if you typically drive around the Garner Fire Department, Garner Baseball, that's something you're going to notice for the next month and a half.
Chris, thanks. We're staying on top of breaking news. Raleigh police are searching for 2 people they say took off after crashing into a couple of businesses. The crash happened around 12:30 this morning at the Carolina Kettle on Hillsborough Street. Investigators say the car also hit the golf performance gym. Ali Katlabar is live there in the WRAL breaking news tracker. And Ali, these businesses will be getting ready to open were it not for what happened overnight.
Ken, that damage from that crash is causing these businesses to have to close today. You can see this hole behind me, how large it is, the brick damage, the metal damage, but the inside also has some damage as well. The car crashed through Carolina Kettle, a kettle-cooked potato chip store. It then hit the back wall of a locally owned gym, Golf Performance. Listen to what the owners plan to do now.
That's not ideal. I'm going to close classes for today. Just make sure the building's structurally sound, and then hopefully we'll be back open tomorrow.
They hit our cash register, so we'll have to get one of those, but hopefully just a couple days closed down.
A couple days for a small business, it creates a challenge. Police say a car crashed into the building off Hillsborough Street around 12:30 this morning. When police got there, the driver was not inside. Witnesses tell the police that they saw 2 people leave the scene. And so police are still searching for the people involved in this crash. Just within the past 5 minutes, I've heard from Raleigh police no arrests have been made. So we're working to find out what led up to this crash and the long-term impacts these business owners might be facing. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Katlabar, WRAL News.
New this morning, state elections leaders are getting together to discuss the process of addressing incomplete or mismatched voter registration information. This all linked to the lengthy state Supreme Court battle that questioned the validity of thousands of ballots. As WRAL's Laura Levine explains, this is the follow-up to ensure voters do not have future problems when they go to the ballot box.
Election officials are meeting here today to discuss and go over the new proposed guidance. We know all of this comes after the state was sued by the U.S. Justice Department, which questioned the registrations of about 200,000 voters in the state. The State Elections Board and the DOJ have agreed on ways some of those voters can cast a ballot. About 81,000 voter records were missing some ID information. They'll have to vote with provisional ballots if their registrations aren't updated before the election. Another 98,000 have information that doesn't doesn't match other state or federal records, they'll be able to vote with regular ballots if elections officials approve new guidance today. The state is working to contact some of these voters impacted to let them know they need to update their records. Of course, they're going to give them instructions on how to do so. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Right now, law enforcement agencies just outside of our area is looking for a child with disabilities. The Randolph County Sheriff's Office next to Moore County says a nonverbal 7-year-old wandered off yesterday. Take a look at your screen. This is a picture of Liam King. Your phone may have gotten an alert about his disappearance yesterday. He was last seen in Ashboro wearing a light blue and black hoodie along with black sweatpants. Deputies say he might run off if you try to approach him, so call 911 if you see him. The trial for the North Carolina man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump begins today. Greensboro native Ryan Ruth faces federal charges after investigators say he staked out Mar-a-Lago last summer with a rifle during the presidential campaign. A Secret Service agent spotted Ruth and shot at him before Ruth ran off and was later captured, of course. Ruth chose to defend himself in this case. He also faces separate state charges over that incident. Today, Durham County Commissioners are expected to vote to honor the legacy of longtime Durham leader. The board will discuss renaming an administrative building after Bill Bell. Bell was the mayor of the city and a Durham County Commissioner. The public will have a chance to voice their opinions as well. A vote will happen after the public hearing. Today's meeting starts at 7 tonight. Fayetteville city leaders plan to keep using gunshot detection technology for at least another year. At tonight's meeting, City Council is set to review a 1-year contract extension with ShotSpotter. The contract extension will cost the city about $220,000. ShotSpotter can pick up gunfire within 3-mile radius. Fayetteville first started using ShotSpotter back in December of 2022. New surveillance video shows the moment a man stabs a woman to death on a light rail train in Charlotte. You can see the woman getting on the train and sitting right in front of DeCarlos Brown. 4 minutes later, Brown takes out what looks like a pocket knife and stabbed her multiple times. We've paused the video just before that attack. The woman collapsed as Brown got off the train. Officers arrested him on the platform shortly thereafter. The transit agency says Brown did not have a ticket to ride the train. CAT says it's now increasing patrols on the train and reviewing safety policies. UNC Chapel Hill and North Carolina Central University giving updates on their efforts to implement the equality policy last month. UNC eliminated 20 roles and 41 vacant positions. It realigned 27 other jobs. North Carolina Central has realigned funds from the Office of DEI to the Department of Student Development and Support. Both schools say the work to stay in compliance is ongoing. Some of the hottest musical artists in the nation celebrating this morning after a historic evening at last night's MTV Music Video Awards. Ariana Grande took home the night's top prize, Video of the Year, for her work on the musical short film Brighter Days Ahead. Grande minutes later, before that, also won Best Pop Award. And making history last night, Busta Rhymes accepting the first ever MTV VMA Rock the Bells Visionary Award. This was his first VMA win of his career after being nominated multiple times over more than 3 decades. The award honored his boundary-breaking cultural impact and indomitable musical career.
Thank y'all so much, man. The blessings don't stop, so we don't stop, baby.
Digging the jacket. In his acceptance speech, Busta paid tribute to the late MTV journalist and talk show host Amanda Lewis. She died in June at the age of 52 after a battle with breast cancer. The first Sunday night football game of the NFL season was a nail-biter. The Buffalo Bills were down 35-20 with 4 minutes left in the game against the Baltimore Ravens before the team mounted an incredible comeback. Quarterback Josh Allen helped the Bills put up 2 touchdowns in the final minutes. Then marched down the field to set up kicker Matt Prater for a 32-yard field goal as the clock struck 0. The Bills winning that game 41-40. Not so much for the Carolina Panthers. Boy, their season getting off to a rough start. Bryce Young turning the ball over 3 times as the Panthers lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars 26-10. The team will now turn its attention to week 2 and a matchup against the Arizona Cardinals next week. The Arizona Cardinals won their opening game, by the way. Bill Belichick getting his first Carolina win this weekend. The Tar Heels slogged their way to victory Saturday night over the Charlotte 49ers 20-3. Tonight on WRAL News at 6, UNC's big bet on Bill Belichick, millions of dollars pouring into the university, but where is it really going? WRAL Investigates follows the football money trail. That's tonight at 6. Still ahead, default cliff. Millions of student loan borrowers are behind on their payments, while so many are suddenly at risk of defaulting on their loans. Also preparing for the storm, the islands of Hawaii rushing together to gather last-minute supplies as Hurricane Kiko nears. The impacts the storm is expected to bring to that Pacific island. I want to give you a live look at Durham this morning, days after hitting the mid-90s with feeling like fall again. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will explain how long this most recent round of false fall will last.
It's 8:44. We're going to take a live look at Chapel Hill, where it's just gorgeous out, beautiful blue skies, and we're seeing that really all across. I'm sure you can see it's a little breezy out here too, and the wind's blowing my hair and my skirt all around. It's going to be a nice day at lunch to be outside, but you know how it is when you try to eat lunch outside and it's breezy. So you'll have that to deal with. 71 though at lunchtime with gorgeous sunshine. Now we did end up with cloud cover when I walked in the building hours and hours ago. It was cloudy everywhere. So gradually we've been clearing from west to east. There's still some lingering clouds in our eastern counties, but that won't last for long. And a very comfortable day for exercise. We're mainly in the 60s right now. We'll only climb into the mid 70s. And if you're going to be exercising after work, still looking at low 70s. So get outside and enjoy the sunshine. I'll show you how long our temperatures will remain below normal coming up.
Hoping it stays that way for quite some time. Elizabeth, here in the traffic center, we've got a number of crashes on some side roads ranging from Holly Springs to East Wake County, areas like Zebulon and Wendell, also toward Wake Forest. But you notice some of the reds on parts of the Beltline, parts of Capitol Boulevard as well. It's really your typical slowdowns like Capitol Boulevard coming in from Wake Forest. It's about a 10-minute delay coming into Raleigh. Now, coming up in 15 minutes, we'll show you when we see some road work getting done that could close things down until November in Garner, where that is coming up.
All right, Chris, thanks. Millions of federal student loan borrowers are getting close to defaulting on those loans. Experts are warning about a potential default cliff as early as this fall. 5 News Side's Ashley Rowe explains why so many are suddenly at risk.
There was a pause on federal student loans during COVID that lasted about 4 years. Payments have restarted, and about 6.5 million borrowers now find themselves behind on payments.
A lot of people, because of the pause on payments during the COVID pandemic, maybe fell out of touch with their loans or thought that for one reason or another they don't have to pay anymore. There was so much news around the prior administration canceling loans, and they did cancel some loans, and then the Supreme Court prevented them from canceling other loans, that people just truly may not understand the status of their current loans.
The first thing you need to do to figure out the status of your loan is to log into studentaid.gov. That's where to find really important information about your loan. If the payment you owe is more than you can afford, there are options for relief. We'll talk you through those tonight on WRAL News. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
The Wake County Board of Commissioners will have a work session this afternoon at 2. The South Wake landfill is one of the topics they'll be discussing. The county says the landfill is expected to reach capacity by 2040. Today, the solid waste manager will talk about what the county needs to do before that. That includes public engagement sessions to get some feedback on this topic. A big hiring initiative by the North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles ended in success. The DMV hosted job fairs last week for 40 new driver license examiner positions. The positions were made possible by a mini budget signed into law by Governor Josh Stein over the summer. Now, in a statement, Governor Stein said, "We have a lot of work to do to fix the DMV. I am proud of the team for taking just 1 month to fill every single one of this year's examiner positions funded by the mini budget I signed. And I appreciate the legislature's appropriation. Now it's time to get those new employees to work." Now, these roles aim to shorten lines and wait times at driver license offices all across our state.
Your time is 8:48 here in the WRAL Live Center. Ken, I got to show you this $17 billion deal that SpaceX just managed to land with EchoStar. That's the company that owns Boost Mobile. Essentially, this is going to allow SpaceX to have access to the spectrum from EchoStar, essentially allowing the Boost Mobile customers to access Starlink, the straight-to-cell service that SpaceX provides there. So it's pretty significant. In fact, AT&T has also been trying to spend a deal or spend some money for a deal to acquire some licenses from EchoStar, but this is pretty massive. Actually, after this announcement was made, overnight trading for EchoStar up 23%.
The VMAs were not the only awards given out over the weekend. Julie Andrews added their third Emmy Award to her collection. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
It's all about collaboration, and we got on wonderfully.
Julie Andrews has won her third Emmy at age 89. She was honored at this weekend's Creative Arts Emmys for her voiceover performance on Bridgerton. The weekend's big winner was the Hollywood satire The Studio, which is this year's most nominated comedy series. It picked up 9 trophies, including cinematography and production design. The main Emmys ceremony is Sunday.
What do you say we toast our tea to family relations?
Oh. Father, Mother, Sister, Brother from veteran indie filmmaker Jim Jarmusch has won the Golden Lion, the top prize at the Venice Film Festival. The 3-part feature film is due in U.S. theaters December 24th.
I grew up where there was nobody like me on TV.
It was like, okay, networks, you don't have a place for me, I'm making my own place.
Seen and Heard, the history of black television, looks at the legacy of black representation on TV, the challenges black artists and creators have faced, and how their storytelling has evolved and shaped culture with each generation. The 2-part documentary premieres Tuesday on HBO Max. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, let me gotta tell you, the preparations are well underway in Hawaii as Hurricane Kiko moves across the ocean toward the Pacific Islands. The Category 2 hurricane is expected to pass through as a tropical storm later this week. The National Hurricane Center says the storm could bring potentially life-threatening surf and rip currents. Emergency officials are warning residents to use this time to prepare and to stock up on any hurricane supplies. The Hurricane Center says people on the Pacific Islands should continue monitoring Kiko's progress. New video shows State DOT's efforts on the Tennessee state line to repair I-40. Right now, crews are building bridges so they can access and store materials near the interstate. We've reported a lot about these efforts to repair the highway after Hurricane Helene's caused extensive damage. State DOT doesn't expect the road to fully reopen for another 3 years. Leaders estimate it will cost about $1 billion. We're bringing you stories of heartbreak and hope in the mountains 1 year after Helene. It's all part of our new WRAL documentary, Helene, What We Lost, What We Found. It airs Thursday, September 25th at 7:30 p.m. on television or wherever you stream WRAL. Let's go ahead and get back out to the WRAL weather patio, check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. You're wearing your jacket appropriately so.
It is cool out here. It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't breezy. We have winds about 5 to 10 miles per hour. It hasn't been terribly gusty, but that steady wind at 5 to 10 is really making it feel pretty chilly. This is a look at Southern Pines, and you can see just a little cloud cover way up high. Otherwise, some blue sky. We've seen our skies clearing really quickly. When I came in very early this morning, it was cloudy almost everywhere, and we've seen a nice constant clearing. We have a front that brought us all the clouds yesterday that is moving to and off the coast right now. So we're clearing nicely. 60 is our temperature right now at RDU, and our dew point's down to 53. So we have a nice dry air in place. It feels good out here. It just feels, crisp and fall-like, little breeze in the air. Very nice. 59 in Roxborough and in Southern Pines. Elsewhere, temperatures are in the low to mid 60s. Around the Triangle, it's 60 in Apex, 61 in Nightdale, 62 in Fuquay Varina. And again, our temperatures are cooler than yesterday by about 5 to 10 degrees, and that's a noticeable difference. Our clouds are really starting to move on out of here really quickly. Futurecast showing still just a little lingering cloud cover in our eastern counties for another couple hours, and then that'll be about it. Temperatures mainly in the mid 70s in the Triangle, and then around 80 in Fayetteville this afternoon. High pressure back to our south and west, rotating clockwise, is helping to pull down some cool air. And so as you see, between now and Friday along the East Coast, you see the blue shaded areas. That's where temperatures are below normal. Our normal high is 85, and we're below normal all the way through Friday. Our muggy meter also very comfortable all the way through Friday, mid 50s to around 60. So we're just going to settle into a really nice cool fall pattern. Notice tomorrow morning is going to feel cooler than this morning. 40s in Roxborough, elsewhere mainly in the low to mid 50s, maybe some upper 50s down south. It's going to be about 5 degrees cooler than yesterday, but maybe enough to add, an additional layer. I'm definitely going to be out here in the jacket tomorrow. Tomorrow also begins the last Bulls homestand of the season. It looks glorious for that. 6 o'clock, 73 degrees. Take along a jacket. It's going to feel great really all the way into the weekend. There is no rain in the forecast.
Yeah, Frankie was anti-jacket. We're going to convince him to wear it tomorrow morning. Well, before we head to break, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers. After the break, another check of weather and traffic.